Think about it. 1 week's a letter. The next week's an email. The next week's a reverse targeted Facebook post. The next week we switch letters. Then we go, then we might do a mailer, not the letter. New content, social media post retargeted. So you're just mixing it up with different needs, different wants, different communication channels. Now you break into a neighborhood. Now you break into it being a luxury market. Now you break into a farm. We've talked in the past about, I think it was last week, we talked about some ways we can utilize open houses to spot farm different neighborhoods right now, how we can have 2 open houses per listing, even if they go under contract, how we can get phone numbers, contact information of all the different people that live in the different neighborhoods, how we can reach out to them, all the different ways we can reach out to market the open houses, market the listings, pick up secondary listings, pick up buyers, all the different ways we can do that to generate business off of a database of people we don't know. Now, I like that for a lot of reasons. What I like about whether it be long-term geographic farming or short-term spot farming, different geographic neighborhoods, is you get to pick your price point. So I really like, people always say, how do you do luxury? How do I market luxury if I want a higher price point? Well, they usually get too much into it. Do I start buying luxury? They use that as an excuse to buy nicer cars or to buy, watches or things like that. And they're actually trying to target luxury neighborhoods demographically based on the people they hang out with. So you're targeting luxury based on people, which can work. You got to join the country club and hang out with those people too. You kind of got to immerse yourself in it. So you got to like those people, and B, you got to spend the money to hang with them. And even then, I don't think the success rate is as high as the other way. The other way, which is how most luxury agents truly succeed, is we have a different target. We target properties, not people. Okay, because it's really easy. You just look at the price point. Because the whole reason you want luxury is to get the higher price point, which in theory means less work for more commission dollars. Right? I get that. So just target the houses, cut out the middleman, and then we just target the property. So then you just pick neighborhoods, right? So we just talk, we can parlay off what we always teach about the open houses and targeting based around open houses. But we got to get into the neighborhood to begin with, to have an open house, or you got to know someone that has an open house that's another agent or something like that. And, we talk about, all the marketing we do around just listed, just sold, and all that type of stuff too. But again, we got to have a listing for that. So how do we break into a farm? How do we start targeting if we don't already have a listing there? Especially tough when it's a low inventory market, when we don't have a lot of listings out there, period. And we've definitely seen that. There's still very low inventory, especially when you start to move into seasonality, into the fall and winter, and even early spring. Listing counts are always down regardless of the markets. So it's very hard to break through in that type of environment. Okay. So as I frequently talk about, there are lots of ways to get contact information, because that's what you want to do. You want to create a database of the people that you're marketing to. That's first and foremost, right? So if you're marketing to your sphere of influence, you got to have a CRM, or you should have a CRM. I shouldn't say you have to have one of those. I did not have one because I was older than the internet. However, I recommend you get one. It seems a lot easier than what I did. So you have a CRM, and in that CRM, you have a sphere of influence. These are the people you know to some level. At least they would recognize you by name. And you would market to them because you have their contact information in there. So that opens up all these different ways to stay in front of them, to add value to them, to come from contribution. I don't ever recommend marketing to anything or anyone without a database, ever, under any circumstance, because that's what I call shotgun marketing. Okay? Shotgun marketing is, quite frankly, the enemy of anyone that went to business school. Because if you went to business school, they told you target market. You do not shotgun market, okay? Shotgun marketing is what most agents do. They just see a cool idea and they shotgun it out into the universe and hope it hits somebody. Target marketing is when you pick a small group of people and you target them over and over and over and over again, repeatedly. And you play the numbers. The reason agents don't do that is they don't have the consistency or the money, or they don't think they have the money. They always seem to, but they just don't spend it because they do something once or twice, it doesn't work, and they stop, which is why so few agents succeed in farming. It's amazing how many agents start farming and then quit within 3 months. I bet you it's over 99% because they didn't get anything out of it. And it's the agents that keep going, and sometimes they go for a year or two without a sale. Just happens. Then the next year they get 20 sales out of that neighborhood. Just happens. But most agents don't have the ability, they don't have the systems, the consistency, the discipline to keep going. So when we target market a database of people, and the same is true with their SOI. You know, you have a group of SOI, but we don't know those people want to buy or sell. So we start to get tired of spending the money and the activity and the uncomfortable awkwardness of staying in front of our SOI because we don't get a result from a while. So that's why most agents stop there too. So you got to be the one that keeps going. If we're going to target market a geographic neighborhood to break in for our first new listing, then the key is consistency and not giving up. We got to have a target market. So we have to get the contact information of the neighborhood we want to break into. Okay. Now, I'll mention this all the time. For contact information, my favorite is RedX. Make sure you tell them that we sent you at Icenhower Coaching. They do waive setup fees. It's called RedX. Same thing with LandVoice. LandVoice has a product as well, and Cole Information. All three of those work really well. RedX, LandVoice, Cole Information. And they have all different types of numbers and contact. You can buy expired listings for sale by owners, for rent by owners. You can buy I like the geo leads, especially for what we're talking about today, geographic neighborhood leads. So you can actually export. And what's crazy is you can actually get email addresses and cell phone numbers now. You won't get all of them. You'll probably get half of them, and they won't all be good numbers. So don't let that bang you up. I mean, 6 years ago, you couldn't get any of those numbers. So now if you can get half of them, be happy. I remember using a phone book. So you really want to be happy with what you get, and they're relatively cheap too. So getting those now you can actually export those out of their product and import those into different groups in your CRM, name them by neighborhood name, you know, then we can start marketing to them, right? We can create action plans, because if you don't do that, you're going to forget it and not do it. So if you don't create an action plan that reminds you of when to make all your different touches, because you're going to make lots of touches. You're going to email them. You're going to mail them. You're going to drop off flyers some days. You're going to reverse target them on social media. To do that, you just take those email addresses and import them into Facebook, let's say, and then you can run ads just back at that database. That's why they call it reverse targeting. You don't use Facebook's database. You reverse it and target back at the one you gave them. So you can put an ad out there that just they see, right? You could use any of those products to buy the expired listings and go back and look at all the listings that expired over the last 2 years in each of those neighborhoods. Reach out to them. I'm going to tell you what you say in all these ads and things here in a little bit. I'm just kind of giving you the different ideas of how you do it, because like I said, it's about consistency. So if you're saying, well, I'll just do that and send out one letter. Okay. Good luck with that. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you be consistent over time. Okay. And diversify your communication channels. Don't just send letters. I never see letters. My wife does. They don't make it to me. They get thrown out. But if you email me, I'll see it, but my wife won't, because she deletes tons of emails and has this ultra neo-Nazi spam blocker on her email. If you do it on social media, maybe my wife sees it and I don't. So you diversify the channels because everyone's different. Like, I hate text messages. I do. I hate them, but I love emails, and that's different than a lot of people. Make sense? So you got to do it different ways for different types of folks. I hate things in the mail, but my mom loves them. And you don't want to miss my mom, because my mom lives in a nice house. So you probably should send some mailers out. Oftentimes, mailers are great for luxury, because older people tend to live in nicer houses, and older people like paper, shiny, big, old postcards. So send them to them. They also like letters. So all of these different channels work for different people. Don't start guessing that you understand why the Budweiser commercial does what the Budweiser commercial does. Don't say that's a bad commercial, that one won't work. They know more than you. Trust me. It just didn't work on you, and you're one unique demographic. So I'm telling you, diversify your touches, diversify your communication channels, be systematic, and be continuous with any database you market to. It's a target market, whether it's your SOI whether it's a geographic phone. Diversify through these different channels. Okay? I think I beat that one to a pulp. That's my big caution. Now, I know what you want me to say is, what do we say to them? What do we market to them? Here's what's neat. Went through a pandemic when the real estate market went like next level crazy town. Okay? Housing is selling like crazy. Since that time, as we have discussed, all it takes is a slowdown and the world's coming to an end in real estate. Okay? What they don't realize is there is still a tremendous imbalance in supply and demand. We are still in a seller's market by every single imaginable economic way to clarify one. Is it as hot as a seller's market as last year, the year before? Maybe not. Maybe in some cases so. Regardless of how you slice it, you put up a home price below the median home price, it's gone. In a buyer's market, it's not. It sits. So it's a hot seller's market. In most parts of the country, below median home price equals multiple offers. It certainly means it's going to sell quickly unless something's wrong with it. So everything's relative to the markets. However, the average Joe Schmo home seller that's tuning into the Google News feed, Facebook, CNN, Fox News, all that kind of stuff, all they're hearing is gloom and doom. The world's ending, prices are coming down, the market's slowing, and they think that means that housing prices are crumbling. And it's a bad time to list their house. So the idea of moving just gets poo-pooed at the dinner table right away. Honey, it's not the time. We missed the market for that. We're not going to move now. I don't care if you want a better life for our kids in that other neighborhood, or you want to get them their own bedrooms, or you want to be closer to your grandparents, or anything else that would increase our lifestyle. We can't do it because CNN or Fox News says it's a horrible time to sell. The market's falling apart. That's what you hear it all the time. Everybody's just kind of waiting. Plus, we don't want to go because of the higher interest rates. So they just stay put. Even though they could live next to their grandparents, they don't remember to date the rate and marry the house. That's an old one. So if you don't know date the rate and marry the house, you can always get the house you want before those go up in value each year and refinance later, if you even want to, because rates could do a lot of funny things, but you don't ever hold off. Okay? So date the rate, marry the house. Move if you want to move. They don't know that though, because they just watch Scary Time on TV. So they just sit and wait and see how things shake out. They don't know we have a shortage and we need listings. So all you have to do is tell them you need listings. Be the one agent that says something, okay? It's simple. So ways to do that. Well, I told you all the different communication channels, right? Let me show you. This is like a we need listings letter, okay? So you're basically going to tell them, since we sold the house, or you don't even just say that, hey, we need listings. I have about I have clients, I have a dozen clients who are interested and want to live in your neighborhood. Or you could just say we do, even if you don't. We could collectively mean the entire MLS, could be your entire office, could be your entire team, could be every licensed agent in your county, because we do co-op as agents. So it's the royal we. We need more listings. I know that's the truth. I know if I have everybody watching this raise their hand, who's got a buyer we can't find a house for, a lot of hands going to go up. That doesn't happen in a buyer's market. It happens in a market when there's a shortage of supply. So because of that, we send out a letter saying we need listings. We have buyers that want to live in your neighborhood. So I'm writing you to see if you know anyone. I think this one's a 2021, needs to be updated, but it is a Microsoft Word document. So with that said, who do you know? Do you have any neighbors that are looking for? We might be able to even get that home sold out and going through the hassle of putting your home on the market. Because a lot of people don't want to list their house just because of the convenience. You have no idea. We as realtors always think that people just want to get the highest price for their home. And boy, you couldn't be more wrong. That's like saying most consumers want to get the best price for their product. If that were the case, guys, no one would go on Amazon. Everyone would go to Costco or all those types of places all the time. No one would go to convenience stores. The whole point of the advent of convenience stores and home delivery is because businesses are learning that people don't care as much about price, that they care more about convenience. You're seeing it in real estate. All these people with like, avoid the realtor, call me. We'll the iBuying, Zillow buy your home. You don't have to mess with us. People buying cars from Vroom and Carvana. I'll pay a little bit more to not have to deal with the dealer and all the hassle. You see it, there's a huge market for it. So if you tell people, hey, we've got some buyers, how many times have you heard, for those of you that within the experience, have you said, yeah, I listened with that other guy because he said he's got some buyers? You're like, oh, come on. Well, there you go. Yeah, I'm going to list with him. He said he had a buyer. He's connected to buyers. They don't realize how the MLS works. But, and that's on you, but that convenience matters. So if you can say, hey, we might be able to even get it sold. Now you're the guy that has the buyers. Just use the royal we. That's a letter I showed you. Now, that could easily also be an email. It could be a social media post. It could be a video of you saying it, reverse targeted to the Facebook group. And I'm not going to get too much into the details of reverse targeting, but I do want to tell you, because it does change how you do it. I'm not going to tell you what to click on and all that, but I'll tell you some details on it because I know people always ask about that. First of all, Google it. How do I, reverse target ads on Facebook? That's your search query, and you'll get videos all over the place. Just make sure you watch a recent one. So watch a recent YouTube video in the last few months, because they change how to do it all the time. You have to do it from your business page. I'll tell you that. And you can reverse target anything, a video, a post, you name it. And like I said, you're going to import your database that you already have into Facebook and target ads at it. And what you click on to get that done and how you upload it, please Google that one, because it changes so frequently that it must be updated. We have courses on it at ICC, but right now they're down because it changed again. We're reshooting them. So that does happen, but it's not that hard. It really isn't that hard. It's pretty easy. You just got to Google it, find it on YouTube, make sure it's a recent YouTube video for what to click on. Not hard. And I will tell you if stuff's hard. That one's not. Facebook's pretty smart about making things easy, as long as you Google. If you try to figure it out on your own, though, no bueno. But YouTube videos are amazing for that kind of stuff. Okay. So it can be all of those things. It could be an email. It can be a bulk text. It can be, I don't know about that. Bulk text is maybe just for a neighbors only open house or something like that. You'll offend probably a few too many people, but definitely, videos and on social media and posts on social media, open letters on social media, things like that. And really make sure when you do this marketing to address the neighborhood residents, right? So let's imagine, just think of the name of the neighborhood you live in. Okay, let's say it's Meadowbrook Estates. If you get an email subject line that says, Dear Meadowbrook Estates residents, you're opening that. Imagine your name, because you're not used to getting spam that's so hyper local. Just like if I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see a Facebook post with a video or comments in bold above my video that say Meadowbrook Estates residents, I'm watching that, because I'm not used to seeing any type of media that's so hyper local that it just applies to my little neighborhood. The tighter you can make it, the more hyper the local, the better the engagement rate. Crucial. So that's, again, the tighter the target market, the better off we're going to be. Okay. So real important there to make sure that the neighborhood name stands out. So much so that if it's a neighborhood that doesn't have a name, I may skip it. Just find one that does. It's that impactful if I can get that name in print across their eyes. It can be on the envelope because you sent them a letter in the mail. Have your kid handwrite them, make it even better. It could be a postcard. Could be a flyer on the porch. That's my favorite. Get some exercise. Find a day with good weather, put on your sneakers, walk door to door. Make sure you secure them on doormats, though, like either slide them under a doormat or put them in the door handle. Don't just lay them loose so they blow down the street. Then you go from hero to zero. But that really works because people always look at those. They don't get thrown out with the bulk mail or miss. People at least have to look at them before they throw them away because they're all by themselves on porches. So that works too. You meet some people that way too. You don't have to knock on the door if you don't want to. Knocking on the door is way more powerful, but it is slower. About 25 doors an hour that way. If they're not there, you leave it under the mat. Powerful as well. I told you about social media. I told you about email. Told you about phone calls, of course. Fabulous. All of those work. So I diversify, right? Here's another one. Same idea, different content in the marketing piece. Now we're going to say urgent sellers needed, Meadowbrook Estates, same thing, lead with that neighborhood name always. And it's going to say, hey, we're looking for this, 3 bed. It's like a missing persons ad, except it's a missing property ad. I'm looking for this type of house, this price range, this type of house, this price range. Could be, 3 different sub neighborhoods, 3 different adjacent neighborhoods. You could just do one neighborhood here, depending on how big your target market is. Can mail that out, postcard it, all the same ways. Now you're targeting a neighborhood based on the types of prices. And if you're real smart, you'll pick every type of price range and house size in there. So you cover everybody. So that everybody that receives it goes, oh, ours is close to that. And they just think, wow, ours just happens to be close to that. Put real high price points in there because we're looking at this as listings needed. We're looking for listings needed. These are the listings we need. And hopefully when they read it, they read through it and they go, oh, we fit the bill here. And that all of a sudden makes them feel like, oh, wow, I'm one of the people this letter was intended for. And it gets them engaging and they start to raise their hand to you. Same letter, same mission, different though, so we can diversify our communication. I'm not saying do one at one neighborhood and one another. No. I'm saying do them at the same neighborhood. Send one letter that way and then wait 2 weeks and the next letter the other way. Diversify through all the different communications so they're not just letters, they're mailers, they're flyers, they're social media posts, they're emails. We mix it up. I'll try and do the same thing because it's a game of touches, a game of contacts. Over and over again, looking for different ways to stay in front of our client database, rotating. All right, I'll show you another one here. This one's same thing, same mission, same everything. Dear Sutter Ranch residents, for example. There's an old logo up there. You'll roll through this. This one's actually saying, hey, here's who I am. And this is almost like a love letter, except it's a permissible love letter because you're just saying, I got some clients. Here's who they are. You're trying to really show that you have tangible people that are looking to buy. And here's who they are. They're bona fide humans. Here's the kids. Here's their age. Here's where they're from. They don't have to have kids. Just we want to make it look tangible. And they're looking for a home in your neighborhood. I'd keep it broad. Don't say this type of house now because we don't want to limit it to just one person that just wants one type of house. Just say they're looking to move into your neighborhood. If you're thinking about selling the next, 6 months to a year, we can maybe get it sold without ever going through the hassle of putting it on the market. And hopefully that helps them reach out to you. Now we know someone who's willing to sell in that neighborhood, even if they wouldn't work for the one client you know of. And they don't even have to really be your clients. They could be someone else in your office's clients or someone, even another person that's got clients that are looking. Because there are some clients looking in that neighborhood and it's going to unearth who's looking to sell. So all of a sudden now that's another touch. Now we are 2 weeks later. So that's actually, just between those 3 letters, that's about 2 months worth of marketing. Think about it. 1 week's a letter. The next week's an email. The next week's a reverse targeted Facebook post. The next week we switch letters. Then we go, then we might do a mailer, not the letter, with the new content. New content, social media post retargeted. New content, social media video of you talking retargeted. Switch content to the 3rd letter. Now that's a letter. And then it's also an email. And then it's a Facebook post. So you're just mixing it up with different needs, different wants, different communication channels. That's how you break into a farm. Then we use our contact information database, go back and use the old expired listings. Go back to those people that want to sell. Look for FSBOs or old FSBOs in any neighborhood. Look for canceled listings. Go back on the canceled listings. All those different ways are ways to unearth listings because you're going to be telling them. A lot of people are surprised they could sell their house right now without much hassle. A lot of people are surprised. They're freaked out. They're freaked out about everything right now. Everybody's freaked out. You're that calming voices. I can get it done. I got clients. We need listings. We have a shortage. Simple as that. Now you break into a neighborhood. Now you break into it being a luxury market. Now you break into a farm.